know, the town that comes down on this side of the hill is called Haslingden. And this hill a pretty massive population of all the people I grew up with, and you know, I went through times with. They were all born and raised the same as me on this side of the hill. It's got all the hallmarks of a small town, you know. Big fish, little pond. Not much to do in the evenings, like. But if you've got any ideas and you're looking for it, you know, you'll find it. If you've got into a bit too much mischief in the city or whatever, you know, this is where the dot goes on the map before it fades away. I've never experienced that side of getting into trouble before, but yeah, I can totally understand why it works like that. I mean, there's a police car there, but that's probably the last police car you're gonna see for quite a while, you know, quite a few miles. See a couple of loudmouths talking outside of a pub. You know, they're not really doing anything, so police have just stood there with their face on, like. Me personally, you know, I have shook this town a couple of times where I didn't mean to. I never saw myself as this sort of villainous type of guy. I grew up looking up to people, you know. My family come through. I had a lot of people in my life to look up to, and you know, some people might think that I went wrong somewhere. I've always been a bit, well, not crazy, but you know, a bit strange in the head sometimes. But this is where I come from, you know. So whenever I've gone into other parts of the world and got in trouble there, I feel like they understand it here more than anyone else probably ever will. heard of it sometime or another, but this is a little caveat of the world called Rossendale. There are beautiful places in the world, you know. I've been to some of them. I've been to the Las Vegas Strip, the Grand Canyon. I've swam naked in the Black Sea. Got caught in the torrential rain in the centre of Bucharest. That's in Romania, by the way. Venice Beach, California. I've been to Compton. I've actually been there. Didn't stay there for very long. Wherever I go, Rossendale is probably always going to be that place I'll probably choose to identify with. Going through my 30s, and everywhere I look I see people are in love with each other, and that's nice, you know. I don't begrudge anybody of that. Just for a long time, I suppose, I haven't felt like I'm really part of it. And it's a shame, you know. It's a shame because it's those kind of times, really, where I can look back on and I've felt the most alive I've ever been. Have I fallen in love? Fuck yeah, I've fallen in love in this valley. Fuck me. My heart is broken into fucking pieces. You know. There did come a time when it felt like my love didn't count. It wasn't the same kind of love everybody else, you know, looked down on me and sort of thought, oh, it's different for him. But I tell you, it doesn't feel like it was different for me. Felt pretty fucking real, you know. I've never got by mooched off the success of my family. I've always made my own success, you know. There's a lot of police about tonight for Rossendale. I mean, I've only actually seen 2 police cars, but that's a lot for a Saturday night in the valley. Let's go up a hill. In this valley, you're going up a hill. There's no getting away from that. So in recent times, I've become more of a spectator of what's going on. Just watching things, yeah, I do miss being a part of it, but I'm not putting that on anyone else, you know. I own that, that's on me. I mean, I've always been well known, but like, there's a lot of nasty people out there who have tried to use that to their own purposes, and a lot of people think that I'm well known for the wrong reasons now. But you know, I'm not gonna go around saying I'm this fucking great guy. Oh yeah, it's fucking. I'm not going to go and defend myself against what is just to defend. You know what I mean? I don't need to. It's just nothing and nobody. That is a strange phenomenon about this place. Like, there's a lot of people who seem like, who behave as though your pain is what sustains them. Like, they need your pain, they feed on it. There is no substitute for that. You will feel like shit, and if you do, then for some bizarre reason that's as strange to me as I'm strange to other people, you know, then we're happy as long as you feel like shit. Yeah, I'll let it make me feel bitter, twisted for a while, but I have to let go of that shit, you know what I mean? I'd love to disappear from existence for everybody, and I'm sure that'd make other people feel great, but I can't live like that for other people, you know what I mean? Because you've got to risk coming back into the picture, you know. Or what am I doing? And I've never been one to play it safe. Everyone's enjoying themselves tonight. Being who I am, you know, like the vast majority of people wouldn't go in the directions that I take. But if you're switched on and you know what you're talking about, then it goes without saying. I'm gonna get there one way or another. I'm not saying at anyone's expense. I don't need that. I don't feed off other people to get what I want. I don't need you to understand. And if you really do care, I mean, in terms of actually caring and not just saying that to people, pretending, you know, coming at all that. If you actually do care about it, then you do understand. And I don't need any explaining. Wind up theories, you know, show for what they are. Because I've decided to keep my head down and just, you know, keep an eye on things. I think what that's deprived people of around here the most, more than anything, is my perspective. More than anything, I think that's what I'm trying to, you know, bring back, because I miss having my perspective on things. And I've let the people who feed off my pain, I've let them, you know, talk it out. No gonna listen to those people anymore. No one's gonna listen to those people anymore if they'll just carry on letting them say whatever they want. Like, everybody who's gonna pay attention to that has already elapsed. They're already on to something different. So this might not show up as anything that's particularly, the day, the time, when my perspective returned to these streets. You might have to flick back to this video to remember when that was. Because this is a beautiful place. I love this town. The other towns that are attached to it and whatnot, people, noise, bullshit, the realness, it's not just bullshit. Nobody kept hold of my dignity for all this time, so that I couldn't get it back. It never really went anywhere, it just survived. And that's all I'm really doing, just surviving. The people who followed my storyline, they stopped following that a long time ago. Things are different now. Time went on, things continued to be for quite a while. And all that time ago, I didn't have all the things that I've got now. I just changed. I started being positive again, and everything works out, I kept my promises. I've only got a few promises left to keep. Nobody needs to know to whom those promises were made. The reality is, I made promises, I kept them. Things in my life are better for that. No one expected me to keep working at it. You know what? Really, I think everybody just is our reason of logic that I'd just stay the same as I was, 10 years ago, going back. They just thought I'd stay like that for good. Because I was in a place where if you weren't me, you probably would be staying like that for good. No. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy the things that those people do. I just built on it, you know, and I kept building and I kept climbing, and at some point, after I started being positive, that's when ambition came back. My ambitions are they're still realistic, nothing impressive, you know. But you don't know what's realistic for me now. I don't blame you for not paying attention. I mean, why would you? I get that. I'm closer to the middle than you think. Let's put it that way.